You want to dance with a servant of the Lord?
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound.
Jammed.
A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into...
My name's Clive Barker. Clive Barker's Undying.
Howdy folks and welcome. I hope this finds you well. Today we'll be talking about Clive Barker's Undying, a game that I discovered while doing my review for The Suffering, thinking I could make a funny joke about why I haven't heard Clive Barker's name since Jericho.
We've been waiting an eternity for you.
I thought it would be best to look it up before saying anything, and I'm glad I did. In honor of this legendary horror master and his continued works, I'll be reviewing Clive Barker's Undying, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. You play Patrick Galloway, someone that deals with the occult and the supernatural. Business has been bad before the Great War starts, and yes, that Great War. Patrick is there to, quote, quell the fears of the superstitious foreign boys. That is a real quote.
I joined a special unit whose job it was to squelch the fears of the superstitious farm boys who made up the fighting ranks.
Was I missing something? I wasn't sure what to be more confused by. Sword-wielding shamans in World War I?
The Trasanti were the biggest pains.
Or the fact that Patrick had a role in the army doing superstitious stuff. I checked online and didn't find anything about a previous game or story. Nothing setting up the story other than this intro cutscene. And that's how the game pretty much is.
I saw their leader holding a strange stone over his head, yelling weird words in a strange tongue.
Talking facts, yeah, I don't do if, buts and maybes, I do absolutes.
And just when he was gonna pull the trigger, he glared right at me.
You just have to accept that Patrick deals with crazy stuff, like wearing the shaman stone around his neck.
They told me Jeremiah and the unit had gone on without me, but he'd given me the shaman stone to keep.
I really don't remember this in history class. So the game starts out with Patrick receiving a letter from his friend Jeremiah, the person that saved him off the battlefield. In the letter, Jeremiah asks Patrick to come to his estate in Ireland. Something is going terribly wrong.
This is not something I'm dying to do, for it may mean the death of me. He saved my life though, so I owe it to him. Just hope it's not too late.
And so begins Undying. Let's start with the graphics, because it's a great mix of really nice assets and details, and then we get some like PS1 Hagrid character models.
Oh good, you've returned. Jeremiah has been asking for you. He is waiting in the Great Hall.
Just like any game from 2001, the exterior levels are drastically different than the interiors, even though one open area does make an exception. I was blown away by some of the rooms you would find while exploring the Haunted Mansion, and it really does feel just like that. A haunted mansion. The design team did a great job progressively making you think, yeah, something is really wrong here. I think it's also the fact that it almost felt normal. I wasn't immediately thinking, oh, this is Cthulhu's mansion. You'll be searching maids' quarters, living quarters, kitchen quarters, the greenhouse. I mean, the mansion just feels enormous. And lived in, which is odd because I don't know how the staff haven't revolted at this point. I would just leave the job. Throughout the game, you'll pick up different weapons, ranging from a shotgun to a Tibetan war cannon. And yes, you heard that correct. I still don't know what it shoots out. The guns have a good design overall. Only odd thing was having my gun in the left hand, since as a righty, it just felt odd. One graphical implementation the game does so well are the reflections. I was blown away by these. Not only do they use them for jump scares, which really works since I wasn't expecting it, some games made even today do not have this type of fidelity. Now, back to the left hand using the guns, there is a reason for that, because you wield magic with your right hand, and this is a great segue into the gameplay. It's pretty funny because Patrick at the start of the game seems to think that like the occult really doesn't manifest itself, even though he can cast spells.
By now, you and I know the supernatural exists. You saw the Howlers. And what about our encounters with the Tersante during the war? You still even carry the Gelzebar stone with you.
It's a token of the shaman's life I took. That's all.
Anyways, you'll be using a combination of different bullets and exploding skulls to get rid of the evil from this accursed place. I really enjoy this type of gameplay, switching between different spells and weapons. I felt like I was changing my gameplay style a lot, which I don't find myself doing with most games. You can also find these crystals called amplifiers. Now, I was big dumb and didn't even read about them until halfway through the game. These amplifier crystals actually upgrade your spells. Not only do they upgrade the damage or the potency of them, but they also have a visual implementation too. For the skulls at least, level 1, you just get 1 skull, which is fine. But when you level it up to 4 or 5, you get 3 skulls, and oh boy, those things rock. Just make sure you do not blow yourself up, like I did like 1,000 times. You could also upgrade the movement spell, which had me feeling like I was in KOTOR again, using force speed. It honestly was a lot of fun since you could dodge most enemies, and it made the exterior levels so much easier. The game doesn't really tell you that platforming or exploring will get you more lore or amplifiers, even keys to your next destination, but you sort of figure that out organically, which was a good experience. There was one stage in the game that I explored a little bit too much. I had no idea why they even allowed the player up here, since we don't get the lightning spell for at least another couple of hours. Wait, force speed? Lightning? Is Patrick Galloway a Jedi? It took one lap around and then not being able to get up the ladder that I realized, yeah, I probably shouldn't be here, and reloaded the game. If anyone knows about this just weird ladder, please let me know. Or if you played the game, did you experience this? Anyways, you have a journal on you, which helps out a lot when doing the quests, since everything is jotted down. However, this is just a UI gripe. I didn't really like that each piece of information was this like large picture. It made me kind of not want to scroll down through all of these options. I would much rather have a text menu, but I digress. The sound in this game is pretty well done, if not for some interesting additions. I feel like it's one of the parts that makes it a campy cult classic. I was genuinely freaked out going down long corridors, just hearing the wind and my hurried footsteps, knowing that a sound cue for something demonic was just around the corner. Doors creak open ominously, monsters make demonic sounds, and the music. Well, the music accompanies what's happening sometimes. I was very confused at certain points since it felt more like a Broadway play and the chorus was just about to chime in. Don't get me wrong, the OST for this game is fantastic, and most moments were staged with the music perfectly. I'm looking at you, Monastery.
Prepare to meet thy mate.
Sadly, the voice acting is kind of lacking, to put it nicely. Our main character, Patrick, seems to be medicated on something, since he doesn't have that much of an emotional reaction to whatever in the cosmic horror is happening to him.
Thieves killed me only son Connor when he tried to drive him off.
I'm sorry to hear about your loss. Do you have any idea where these thieves are hiding out?
Judging by the fair amount of Tresanti patrols I've seen by the caves upon the coast a bit, I'd see their hideouts nearby.
Sounds dangerous, but I've got no choice.
The accompanying voice actors do an okay job, but there were points where I couldn't keep a straight face.
I am his mistress, the now and future queen. Soon we will embrace and preside over the new dominion.
Just remember to put on enhanced audio in the menu. And now for the story, and the real meat of the game, since I love B-movie horror plots, and this might be the king of them for video games. As stated before, you play Patrick Galloway. Having survived some sort of spell by a shaman, and an attack by their group who inexplicably is working for the Central Powers, Jeremiah, the friend that sent you the letter, is the one that saved you from the explosion, or whatever the hell happened with the shaman stone.
I saw their leader holding a strange stone over his head, yelling weird words in a strange tongue. And just when I was gonna pull the trigger, he glared right at me. A bright green flash came from his hand, and it bowled me over as my gun went off. I woke up in a hospital bed with severe burns.
Apparently, Jeremiah went on to fight more and left you in the hospital. Obviously, something is going very wrong with Jeremiah and his family. Jeremiah is the oldest out of 5. You have Bethany and Aaron, twins, then Ambrose, and finally Lisbeth, all who are dead and subsequently haunting the mansion. Jeremiah is uncertain why they are haunting his estate, himself, and his workers. Jeremiah thinks about what could have caused this curse, and comes back to when he was a child, took one of his father's books on the occult, and performed a ritual in front of these weird stones. Might be that.
I took my brothers and sisters out to the island and read from my father's book.
Well, what happened?
Something answered. The ocean began to boil, and a great wind whipped against us as we stood in the circle, and my siblings huddled to the ground in fear. Eventually, the wind died, and the sea settled. Patrick, I know it sounds like the ravings of a dying man, but I believe those standing stones had something to do with this. What has once been a taint upon this family has now begun to manifest itself.
But you told me you're dying. Doesn't this curse end with you?
Who knows? My brothers and sisters are dead, but I don't think they're really gone.
It's probably that, Jeremiah. Patrick, being an honorable man, and I use quotations there since I don't know anything about the character at this point, agrees to help his old friend Jeremiah and stays in the castle overnight. Even though he has witnessed demonic creatures and I think 3 staff getting murdered, which he never brings up. So you start unraveling the past of the Covenant estate, and soon realize you're on ancient Native American burial ground. Oh wait, we're not in America. You're on ancient Celtic burial ground. Turns out this estate is actually built on top of 12th century monk ruins, and this order of monk wasn't your just make wine and chill out order, right? These monks were tasked with keeping the balance between good and evil. You start finding these journals from the monks that detail the horrors that they've gone through. I mean, some of the stuff is really riveting. And all of this isn't just a history lesson. It turns out that there was some sort of demonic relic, a scythe, that the monks were keeping behind closed doors. Whatever the ritual was that Jeremiah started long ago, the scythe is connected to it, and Patrick realizes that it's the only way to kill the Covenant siblings and free Jeremiah from his curse. Bad part is, the scythe is nowhere to be found In modern times, after chasing around Bethany in the old abbey, we put together the Triforce and somehow teleport back to 12th century Ireland.
I can't move, Father.
I really wasn't expecting to be mowing down monks with my arsenal of magic and weapons. It felt iconic.
Terrorists win.
Now, I don't want to get into the butterfly effect too much, but is Patrick Galloway the reason why the monk order is destroyed in the modern day? Since we kill almost all of them, and I thought they were there to preserve the balance. I'm on fire!
Father, shield me from harm.
Somehow we get back to the present time, and with our newly acquired scythe, take out Bethany.
What's this? My pets, to him I call you. Break his bones and claw his eyes clean. How dare you? I will gnash your heart between my teeth and drink deeply. The ritual will be complete. The king will arise and the very world will tremble. The family is to be reunited!
You were saying?
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
After disposing of her head, get back to Jeremiah to tell him about his sister's demise, when Ambrose, one of the other siblings, confronts us and Jeremiah.
Come, sit close and tell me what trouble my siblings have caused lately.
Ah, yes, brother. What madness has your family caused this time?
Ambrose demands the Gelzabar stone, the shaman stone. I don't even know how he knew about it or why he needs it.
Give me the stone, or my brother here gets a trip to the family mausoleum.
Fine, here's the stone. Now let him go. He's not part of this fight.
Here's where you're wrong. You're a stranger to a fight that's over 2 decades old. Jeremiah has everything to do with this.
No!
You had that coming for a long time, big brother.
He also kills off Jeremiah quickly, which I didn't care about. Honestly, we didn't really talk with Jeremiah that much, and it was kind of a dick move that Jeremiah would just send for Patrick when he knew all the things that were going on here. This is also a great time to talk about the boss design, since it's probably the worst part of the game, and I have people to back me up on that. Being frustrated with Bethany, since she took so many bullets and scythe shots that I thought I was doing something wrong, especially since they don't explain any mechanics. Lo and behold, Ambrose with the Shaman Stone turns into a Trog, and I have no idea if I'm dealing damage to him or not. So what are these animals? I've never seen them before in this game. I get it, they're holding him down, I'm supposed to do damage, but nothing's indicating anything. I knew I had to attack during these moments, but I just didn't know what. And this is not going to be the last time this happens in the game. After I died to his jump cleave about 3 times, I got so frustrated that I looked up how to beat the boss. And I'm really glad I did. One of the best things about the old internet was the forums. Sort of like Reddit, but less toxic. Forums from the late 90s and early 2000s for games were ripe with information and shit talking. What I found on the forums for Undying validated every single emotion that I had while playing the game. Somehow I made connections with people from 20 years ago. It actually felt really nice to know that even 20 years ago, people were having the same questions and comments that I was having. So I learned from the boss FAQ that you have to shoot the axe to take the Shaman Stone off of it. And we quickly dispatch Ambrose. Our next kill is a person named Kissinger, who is actually not part of the family. He's also a magician that dabbles in the occult. You find messages between him and one of the siblings, and he's really interested in the curse. He also has enough time with the family that he builds a portal to Oneros, a different realm. This was an interesting change, and I liked being apart from the mansion for a little bit. Also, these demon birds were pretty spooky, and they made your camera go wonky. Usually I'm not a fan of this since I do get seasick sometimes, but it kind of fit what you were going through. I don't think a person coming out of a demonic realm, or into one for that matter, should be all put together. Along the way to Kissinger, we get the ability to fly, don't ask, and we confront him on his ziggurat, or I don't even know what to call it at this point.
We've been adversaries for so long, Galloway. Whatever will I do with my spare time after I dispose of you?
You're risking the mistakes of the past, idiot.
Wait, they know each other? This is when I really started to question if I was playing like a sequel or there was an accompanying book before this, cause they do not set this up whatsoever.
On, Patrick, but I've been waiting too long for this opportunity to be upstaged now.
Your reckless pursuit of power must be stopped!
I'm humored that you'd even try.
Otto just casually mentions that him and Patrick have been rivals forever, when in the intro, Patrick doesn't even mention him. I probably missed a couple of important lore books or some dialogue, but not having it in the intro kind of just threw me the wrong way. I didn't even have to look up the fight for this guy since this is it.
Ah, Otto, the future could have been so different.
We acknowledge the banishment of the one they call Kissinger. We are pleased and wish to express our gratitude.
So I guess we just freed a society of birds in a demon realm. Also, this never comes back. Next sibling we have to deal with is Aaron, the painter, and he's been chasing us throughout the castle the whole entire game. Anyways, this is where you see more monstrous monsters, which I'm always happy about. We bring Aaron's Horcrux to his body and reanimate his flesh. Jesus Christ, Patrick. Obviously, this boss battle stinks. We finally use our trusty scythe on him, and he scares us?
Sleep well, Irishman.
Who said that? What the fuck is going on? I guess we get knocked out and have this weird dream or premonition? When I just appear with a scythe in my hand, I couldn't keep my water in. You get this conveniently placed journal right as you spawn, since I'm sure playtesters were going, Clive, what is going on? Gotta put some exposition in here. Turns out the last sibling, Elizabeth, was some sort of cult aficionado and was super into her dad's books. She found another way into another realm called Eternal Autumn and kind of got engaged to the Undying King, some destructive, dystopic, eldritch god that will destroy humanity. You know the deal. All right, so we get this information and then kill off all these cavemen. I felt kind of bad since we just teleported into their world and force-fed our way around cutting off their heads with our magical demonic scythe. Also, it looks like the cavemen are getting experimented in this realm too, so double ouch. We finally reach up to Elizabeth, who desperately needs a lozenge.
Impudence! You struggle against the ocean and don't even realize it. All the power I acquired in this world pales to that which he possesses. His throne will be built on the bones of humanity.
I promise you that'll not happen. It's time to steal your tongue.
No, it is time for you to realize who you are fighting.
Elizabeth summons a lot of enemies for this fight, but with some trusty scythe swings, we defeat her. We won, right?
What have I done?
Well, it looks like you've succeeded. You are full of surprises, Patrick. You've apparently learned to harness that stone's power quite effectively, slain my entire family, done what I could not.
What is this vile lie?
What's this? This is fate, old friend. I've spent the last 20 years fearing this moment, hoping to figure a way out of this curse. All I need is that stone you carry to end my misery.
But I saw you die.
You saw what you wanted to see.
Oh no, turns out Jeremiah is also cursed too? This was a twist because it was set up, and I really liked it. What I was not happy about is the ensuing boss battle.
Well, it matters little now. You've completed the work I could not.
You were my friend. Why are you doing this?
Oh yes, I guess we were friends once. But on that faraway continent, I felt the inevitable calling of my brothers and sisters. I was drawn back to this land, to the death that stirs beneath us. I died the day I saved you on that battlefield, seared by that blast from the shaman stone. However, I awoke from my death with lifeless eyes, enslaved to do the bidding of the king. I could no longer deny what was in me, but you unwittingly held the key.
You can't think I'll let you get away with this, Jeremiah.
You should be grateful I'm killing you. You won't like the world I've planned.
The Undying King visually is really impressive for 2001. Its mechanics, however, are probably the worst that I've experienced in a while. You cannot get within 5 feet of the water without these tentacles like 3-shotting you and distorting your camera, but you spawn in 5 feet from the water. So I instantly got hit by these things and died like 3 times in a row. I saw the mouth of the king and I thought, oh, you'll just throw dynamite in there. Wrong, he just sucks you in and eats you. I died 5 times to that. It wasn't until I had to look up that you have to shoot the stomach, then shoot his head, which I don't know which one of these is actually his head, because they do such a bad job at indicating what you're actually supposed to be shooting at. Sorry, I'm getting heated. So I did look up on the boss FAQ how to defeat this guy, and I'm glad I did. I couldn't stop laughing at the FAQ's reaction to this boss, and I need to read it verbatim to you. It has so much meat to it. Quote, I know what you're thinking. What the hell is that? Well, instead of laughing at this sad excuse for an end boss, just beat the damn thing so you can see the final cutscene, okay? The king is nearly impossible unless you know how to beat him. But once you figure out how his weak point works, It's disappointingly easy. I couldn't write something more scathing myself. We finally take out Resident Evil Jeremiah and get knocked out again?
Oh, where am I? Yo, it can't be.
I'm not done with you yet.
I don't even know who that's supposed to be. Who is that?
There's no way of telling where that Gilzabar stone disappeared to. Into a bottomless ocean, or an eerie phantasm of sorts.
You get a huge exposition dump, and I'm guessing that everyone that finished this game was like, what the hell happened? They even refer to the next game, which I would be very down for.
I think I finally have some idea of what went on. The beast I slayed manipulated the Covenant family the same way Jeremiah did to me. It called for him, and he called for me. The creature was a guardian, a sentinel of a gate to somewhere. Some when. The Celtic warrior was just a sacrificial lid on a tomb that was never supposed to be opened. You see, I looked into the Brotherhood of St. George, and I found other monasteries scattered all over the world, and other gates too, watched by other guards, no doubt. About the only thing I fear anymore is that they'll call on me again.
And that's Clive Barker's Undying. Somehow, someway, I truly loved this game. Don't get me wrong, there were frustrating parts throughout, yet I was always eager to get to the next place, and it felt good to get there. The campiness of the story and the solid gameplay really lent itself to the experience, and I got around 12 hours of playtime. The visuals are unique enough that you'll never get bored, and the story is something to laugh with, not at. I respect the hell out of Clive Barker, and I really hope he's doing well. I look forward to reviewing Jericho one day, since I remember it getting some mixed reviews. Anyways, I would love to see Patrick Galloway's story brought back to light. Let's go to other monasteries around Europe and fight the occult. I want to know who stole the shaman stone from us, yet saved our lives. What happened to the staff at the Covenant estate? Did they get their payout? I feel like it's a testament to the game when you think about it after beating it. More and more, I wanted that ridiculousness, that occult vibe. Now, I don't know if a remaster would be the best case, since I don't think they could capture the campiness and what made this game what it is today. Yet, I would love to see them continue on the story of Patrick Galloway. If you like the occult, mysteries, fun gameplay, and wacky characters, I'd really suggest playing Clive Barker's Undying. It worked great off of GOG. And that's my review of Undying. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, check out my channel. There's something there for everyone. I guarantee it. And as always, see you next time.